The sky is looking nice and clear this morning. Sunny skies are expected throughout the day, along with a high temperature of 59 and a low of 43 degrees. A very slim chance of rain is in the forecast later this evening. The chance of rain will increase as Friday turns to Saturday. Showers are expected off and on throughout Saturday and Sunday. However, it will be fairly warm out, with the highs staying in the upper 50s and lower 60s. The rain will continue into Monday, but it should dry up fairly early on. Cloudy skies are in the forecast for the rest of the day. Mostly cloudy skies are expected for Tuesday, along with a slight chance of rain. This is Mason Self for the News 103.9 Live Wire Weather Center. Count on it.
In Irwin, it's clear and 56. In Greenville, it's partly cloudy and 50. In Johnson City, it's partly cloudy and 50.
Does getting something flavorful and balanced on the table feel like a chore? Let HelloFresh take care of meal planning so you can save time and have fun cooking and eating. Visit HelloFresh.com and choose what meals you want from an ever-changing and delicious menu. Then, let HelloFresh shop and deliver pre-measured ingredients with simple 30-minute recipes that require minimal cleanup and cost less than $10 a meal. Go to HelloFresh.com/try-now to get $30 off your first box. That's HelloFresh.com/try-now.
You know, we've had Dave Hansen on, speaking of Slapshot, one of the famous Hansen brothers, on this show. Yeah, we did. Last year we had Dave Hansen on. He's an old friend. So, Tri-City Sports Now, I'm Marky Billson. I wanted to get, there's this big stuff now, I guess, the Buffalo Valley Golf Course in Unicoi, the offer was made $400,000 for a property that might be worth more than $2 million, according to some. Unicoi making the offer, and they say they want to continue it as a golf course. Why did it shut down? Why was it losing money for the city of Johnson City? Now, one thing that I've always said is, sort of that old Pete Paduch ideal of, you got to cut costs everywhere you possibly can as a city. You got to cut costs everywhere. And he once said, the city of Johnson City needs to get out of the entertainment business. Sell Buffalo Valley Golf Course, sell Freedom Hall. What? You're out there to pave the roads and make sure the fires are fought and, have a good police force and all this. By the way, the trooper is going to be my guest. Yeah, Andy Slagle on Tuesday. Told he's going to co-host the show, assuming the microphone is working. But, no, you're going to be doing that. But anyway, we've got to do that. And hence, maybe you got to get rid of some of the, keep the city responsibilities and budgets to a minimum. Keep your sports entities to making sure your parks are being mowed where people can play Frisbee, that sort of thing, And anyway, the whole thing with Buffalo Valley, I was reading on BusinessInsider.com. Do you realize that for the past decade or so, there have been over the country, 800 golf courses that have closed? More than 800? I mean, supposedly, shopping malls and golf courses. These are things that are drying up. Now, shopping malls, you can kind of figure, okay, a shopping mall, I'll give you a historical reference, the Kingsport Mall. I remember the Kingsport Mall. It was always the number 2 mall in Kingsport behind the Fort Henry Mall. It was the first. I'm sure that when it was built, it was the biggest. There are now box stores and things of this nature that are on the side of the Kingsport Mall. It was on Weststone Drive. Okay, it was actually on the corner of Weststone Drive and right before the main drag, the road, and I'm drawing a blank on what it was called. Is it Fort Henry that was called? But Weststone Drive and the road that'll take you to Dobbins Bennett from Weststone Drive. It was on the corner there, for those of you who aren't familiar and all that. And it had did it have a Montgomery Ward in? I want to say it did, which shows you the dated period of, the Kingsport Mall. But then Fort Henry what's Fort Henry? Come on. Where are you going to shop at? And now it's like me, which is, gee, I don't want to have to get up and go out. I'll be able to find on the internet much more exotic needs. I'll be able to find on wherever exactly the sort of item that I want. Instead of having do you have silk shirts? Do you? Find it like that. Okay, you got to wait and pay for shipping. Sure. Well, you get what you want within about a week or so. And, it's just like, and, this is East Tennessee. An older generation is very familiar with ordering from mail order catalog. And how exotic it was to turn the pages through that. And now you've got, the internet to figure out what it... So you understand why shopping malls are kind of going the way to the dodo. Now, stores obviously have their practical purposes, very practical purposes. I mean, if you want something right away, if you don't want to wait, 5 days or 2 weeks or whenever for it to come, sure. If you need batteries right away, food, toiletries, And yes, maybe even, I plan to, what are the clothes at the haberdashery? That sort of thing. But sure, and you'll always have that. But yeah, a lot of shopping malls are having trouble. And the other thing is golf course. Why golf courses? And we see this with Buffalo Valley. And that's one of the reasons why, to tell you the truth, I think the city, the town of Unicoi, if they're able to buy the golf course for $400,000, it's valued at $200,000. I mean, that's quite the investment. That could be a money-making opportunity there. And they're talking about leasing the golf course. Lots of golf courses, though, what is going on now is they are getting rid of them for housing developments, building subdivisions, this sort of thing. Okay. One of the things that is said is millennials aren't playing golf. I guess golf was never, though, all that popular, with the younger set. Tiger Woods might have been, on Mike Douglas showing Bob Hope how to golf back in the day at the age of 3, but not everybody was doing that. Usually when you're that young kid, I guess they now want to steer you to soccer and all this because it's a simple sport to play. And I mean, I've heard of Bumblebee soccer for 3-year-olds. That's daycare. That's what that is. That's daycare. Or Bumblebee soccer for, But yeah, you're 6 years old, you play Little League or T-ball or what have you. That's the sport that you play. You get a little older, you want gear, I like that. And you play football. You're amazed the day when you're a very young child and you have enough strength to shoot the ball 10 feet in the air and possibly get it in the hoop. You don't have to do granny shots anymore. That's always big. Here's the point. Very few people at that age say, I want to grab the golf club. And that's the way I think it's always been. It's always been a sport that has been embraced. And yes, I know. I mean, I see the high school golf scores. But it's always been a sport that's really kind of been embraced by an older set. We're going to play golf and do business and all of this. So when I hear that millennials aren't playing golf, I'm not ready to throw up red alert yet, to be honest with you. But that has become one of the things that, looking at BusinessInsider.com, they've got several articles on this. One of them is, Agri-hoods replace golf communities for millennials. What is an agri-hood? I guess an agri-hood, and I can see this happening here in the Tri-Cities, possibly something like this could be taking place in the Buffalo Valley Golf Course. I mean, people are worried about, well, our property values will fall if it becomes a soccer field or a rugby field or what have you, as Michael Ballard has talked about creating too. There's some debate how much it would fall or if it would fall at all. But the property owners around the golf course, that's what they're feeling. And it's always been a golf course. We don't want to see that change, Certainly they don't want smokestacks coming in. Of course, there is the question of the wastewater plant that's on the Buffalo Valley Golf Course community, which has been closed since January 1st, by the way. Anyway, agri-hood. Now, that's something that you would have on a golf course if you wanted to redevelop it for residential. And what that is, it's urban farming, basically. I guess Unicoi, I don't know if I'd call it urban farming and all this. And for that matter, I mean, even in big cities. I mean, there's somebody out there who lives in New York City who's got a house with a yard and they plant tomatoes in the back. Well, that's urban farming. Anyway, or they've got some ground out back or something, or they've got flower boxes or whatever that they, grow celery in, or I don't know if you can grow celery in a flower box, but you get what I'm trying to tell you. And that has said to be the next big thing. I will say this, I know that, the urban farming, that's become big in Detroit. We all know the story about Detroit. Here's what you might not know. Detroit was originally built in land area. The idea was that it would be a town of, or I should say a city of 3.5 million people. Never quite got there. So now, not only do you have all these abandoned houses and buildings, but you have all this space as well. That's, that's a problem. But what they've done is a lot of communities in there have said, we want to go to Detroit because we can buy a house for $1 and we can become urban farmers. Of course, it hasn't really, gotten the population back up to over 1 million in the city of Detroit or anything like that. Still it's 700,000. It used to be one of 5 towns that had more than 1 million people within its city limits. Anyway, where I'm going with that is I'm wondering if Buffalo Valley Golf Course, if that might not be that agri-hood, something with so many throughout the country, golf courses being turned into housing developments to look at. And I've always thought that with all the area that the Tri-Cities had, you could double the population and still have the feeling like you still do here in the Tri-Cities, despite being a top 100 TV market, which is in the upper half of the nation. The metropolitan area is one of the, top 100. There are, I think, 210 TV markets, or maybe a couple more. No, but think of that. I know that people we want to be a top 25 TV market. We want to be a top 10. Well, there's something also to be said for a top 100. Green Bay, if memory serves, is 70th. If I'm off 1 or 2, forgive me on that. Okay, but approximately number 70. And I just mentioned Green Bay because, that's a major sports market, obviously, the Packers. So, I mean, that's, Johnson City to Kingsport, Bristol, I think is 97. Used to be 92. But as I said, if you want to bring in people, maybe it's not done through the golf course, maybe it is the agri-hood. Or is it done through the soccer field, the rugby field, and the lacrosse field? Because when I go outside, when I talk to younger people, and I say, I'm a sports talk show host, I keep getting, what sport are you into? Soccer! And I'm really surprised by that. But the more I've thought about it, and I've said this on the show, the more I think about it, the more I kind of understand it. Soccer, it's going to be done in 2 hours. For all the people, you got to have more scoring in sport. You hear this in baseball and all that. I mean, they've got baseball turned into home run derby. And although the attendance, yes, is better than it was, when you had the Brooklyn Dodgers, don't get me wrong, there are also a lot more people and they also have better pro sports marketing. What it isn't is what it once was, which is the number 1 sport in the country. And there is sort of a feeling, the World Series, it's going to get a quarter, a third depending on the game, of the rating of the Super Bowl. There's something wrong with that. Now, this being said, and one of the things you hear about, it's too slow. For that matter, even myself, where it's my favorite sport, and I say this all the time, yeah, 13-7 game isn't all that dramatic. A 2-1 game is. Soccer, of course, doesn't have a lot of scoring. That means that the games are mostly close. Nothing worse than a 6-0 soccer game. But a 2-1 game, well, that's a little different story. Like even you're watching, they're in extra time! And it's a different feel. How much time is there really? They've got to pressure the ball right now. They don't know! And that is an appeal that soccer has that no other sport does. If not agri-hoods, I know that a lot of people that live around the Buffalo Valley community, they say, yeah, we worry about our property value, we worry about the soccer fields, we worry about rugby fields, we worry about lacrosse fields, but I'm not so certain that that's not where the sports world is headed. The other thing I think why golf might be a little bit down is there was so much emphasis placed at one time, Nike promoting not golf but Tiger Woods. I am Tiger Woods. You weren't promoting golf, you were promoting an individual. Tiger Woods then, his wife takes a golf club to the car. He has his falling out. We know all about that. And for as good as Phil Mickelson and Rocco Mediate are, they weren't as promoted. John Daly seems like a bum. Who else is out there? Even tennis has the, beautiful women playing. And although golf does as well, they haven't been able to market their sex appeal as well as even a Danica Patrick or a Ronda Rousey who gets hit in the face. Anyway, Rocco Mediate had a theory. I'm giving you that. I mean, too much Tiger Woods, and then when he burned out what was the sport, Rocco Mediate has a theory about why golf is not attracting new players, and it's the game is too long. Why do you want to spend 6 hours on the golf course? I guess you could play 9 holes instead of 18. That's why people don't come to the game. There are a couple of people who have built, get a load of this, 12-hole golf courses. 6 holes in the front, 6 in the back. If you're working all day, you got 2 hours to go to a club. When you're done, you can't play 18. Or you don't want to spend 5 hours. Maybe you only want to spend 2. Again, I don't know why. I'm going to play back 9 today. I don't understand that. You can play 12 holes in 2 hours, I guarantee it. Interesting. 12-hole golf course? Is that where we're going? I don't know. I mean, I think it's sort of the people that want to say, baseball should change down to 7 innings. Well, then why isn't high school baseball more popular? That's what they play there. Come on. Although the way they're babying pitchers right now, maybe that's even too much. Tri-City Sports and the beautiful symmetries of 9s and 3s, though. Olympics. Going to break down ETSU VMI. NFL news is Rob Gronkowski coming back. Talked about The Rock and Sylvester Stallone. We're saying, hey, you ought to be an actor. Talk about that. There's also a little bit of coaching news. Regardless, Tri-City Sports Now, that's all coming back. And Donnie Abraham at the top of the hour.
And Irwin, always stocking your favorites.